Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental, a key question about how democracy works, or maybe how it should work,
Right.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Who actually decides who leads? Is it the people, at the ballot box?
Powers of judges in courtrooms, that's the crux of it.
Exactly. And we're
Yeah.
basing this deep dive on a really interesting analysis. It's called Nigerian elections, courts versus the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it raises some pretty big concerns.
It really does. What's striking about this source is how it points to a specific pattern, maybe an unsettling one. It kind of challenges that core assumption we have about, democratic power.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
So that's our mission today, to really unpack what this analysis is saying about Nigerian election outcomes.
Mm.
We want to look at the different angles, the concerns raised, and importantly, why this matters to you.
Yeah, why it's relevant beyond just Nigeria, potentially.
Let's jump right in. The main point the analysis makes right off the bat is this idea of a pattern.
Yeah.
It argues that Nigerian elections are, increasingly being taken over by the courts, not the polling stations.
And if that's true, that's a huge shift away from the democratic ideal, isn't it?
Totally.
The whole idea is that the people's will, expressed through votes, is supposed to be the ultimate decider.
So this suggests something else is happening, power shifting.
Exactly, a fundamental change in where that final decision rests.
Okay, so to make this concrete, the analysis gives a specific example.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Zamfara State back in 2019.
Ah, yes, Zamfara, a key case.
The voters there seemed, pretty decisive.
Yeah.
The APC candidate, Mukhtar Idris, won by a landslide. Huge margin.
You'd think that was it, case closed.
Right. Seems straightforward.
But this is where the courts come in, according to the analysis. The Supreme Court looked at how the APC chose Idris the primaries process, and they found legal problems with those primaries. So what did they do? They canceled Idris's victory.
Canceled it entirely.
Yes. And this wasn't a small number of votes we're talking about. Over 500,000 votes for Idris, just discarded.
Wow. Okay, so what happened then? Who got the seat?
Well, this is the really startling part highlighted in the source. The seat was given to the runner-up.
The person who came second.
The person who came second and who, crucially, hadn't won in a single local government area.
Okay, that does sound counterintuitive for a democracy.
To say the least.
And the analysis, as you mentioned, uses strong words here. It calls it not democracy, but a legal technicality turned into a political coup.
Pretty forceful language.
Very. It definitely makes you stop and think. So how does this square with, the actual law? What does the Constitution say?
Well, that's a central tension the source points out. The Nigerian Constitution is apparently very clear. Power belongs to the people. Section 14(2)(a), I believe it mentioned.
Power belongs to the people. Okay.
But then you have this practice where election cases go to court, and the actual voters, the people whose power is supposedly supreme, they aren't party to the case.
They don't get a say.
They don't get to speak. They're not represented directly when their mandate is being decided by judges. Their choice becomes secondary to legal arguments between parties.
So their expressed will gets sidelined by procedural issues.
That seems to be the argument, yes. Their votes become almost like background noise to the legal battle.
Right. So moving on from that specific case, the analysis then asks, okay, why should this worry you? What are the bigger implications here?
Yeah, this is the so what part.
If this pattern continues, what's the potential fallout?
The source raises a really significant concern. Elections could start to feel, pointless.
Pointless? How so?
Because politicians might change their strategy entirely. Why focus all your energy on winning over voters, campaigning, building support, if the real contest, the one that ultimately matters, is fought in the courtroom afterwards? Their focus could shift from winning votes to just winning legal cases.
I see. So less about public appeal, more about legal maneuvering.
Exactly. And think about the long-term impact of that. Voter engagement could plummet.
Makes sense. Why bother voting if you feel the result might just be overturned on a technicality?
Precisely. It could really erode public trust in the whole democratic process, a feeling of, my vote doesn't actually count in the end.
That's a sobering thought.
Oh.
Okay, so given these potential dangers, what does the analysis suggest should be done? What needs to change?
It doesn't just diagnose the problem, it does propose some solutions, specific reforms.
Okay, like what?
First, it argues courts should change their remedy. If there's a problem serious enough to nullify a win instead of just handing victory to the runner-up,
They should.
order a fresh election, let the people decide again with the issues clarified, put it back in the voters' hands.
Okay, a do-over, essentially.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
Second, and this connects to what we discussed earlier, voters must be included somehow in these court cases.
How would that work?
The analysis doesn't detail the mechanics, but the principle is clear. If a case directly challenges the validity or outcome of their votes, the voters themselves need a voice, some form of representation in that process.
Right, so their mandate isn't debated without them.
Exactly. And finally, it calls for updating the laws themselves, making sure the electoral laws genuinely reflect democratic values and don't allow for these kinds of outcomes based on, pre-election technicalities overriding the actual vote count.
Aligning the legal framework with the democratic spirit.
That's the idea, making sure the rules support the principle of popular sovereignty.
So this whole discussion really boils down to that core tension we started with. The ballot box versus the courtroom. Where does the ultimate authority lie? Or where should it lie?
It's a fundamental question about the mechanics of democracy.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, the analysis leaves us with a really potent final thought.
It does.
It says, until the ballot box regains its voice, we're not truly in control of who leads us.
That really hits home, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you think about what control even means in a democracy. Is it just casting a vote? Or is it ensuring that vote is the final word?
Absolutely. And it leaves you, the listener, with a crucial question to ponder, I think.
Go on.
If democracy rests on the people's voice, what happens to the health of that democracy when leadership hinges on legal interpretations in chambers, sometimes ignoring clear electoral choices? And maybe more importantly, what's the responsibility of citizens, of institutions, everyone really, in making sure that voice isn't just heard, but is actually decisive?
A lot to think about there. Definitely food for thought.